stars, welcome back to the channel. This is Gwendolyn, or if it's your first time here, welcome. This video is going to be about the full moon lunar eclipse that's happening in Leo today. This is February 10th, but for some of you it's going to be February 11th, just depending upon where you're at in the which hemisphere you're in and where you're located. So I'm going to give a little overview of what the lunar eclipse and the full moon means for everyone, and then I'm going to talk about what it means for each sign. So in general, full moons are times when we complete things, where things are illuminated. That's the full moon, like showing its illumination in that area, where we can let go of things, where things come to culmination, where they come to fruition or conclusion. And when things, like I said, get illuminated, or we can shine a light in certain areas, the light shines on things in that area during the time of the full moon. So the lunar eclipse is a special version of the full moon because it provides illumination to the shadow aspect, or what we're lacking, or what is missing, what is incomplete in a way. So it brings something up that may not be in our consciousness, what is unconscious usually, or subconscious, or even tapes that are playing in the background. When the lunar eclipse happens, it brings up that shadow stuff that we normally don't have access to. So it's information that's not usually seen, or areas of emptiness instead of fullness, and it shines a light on that. And so we will be feeling this eclipse polarity. The Leo-Aquarius axis is something that will be present for the whole lunar eclipse cycle. I believe last year we had the Pisces Virgo axis being activated by the eclipses, and this year it's Leo-Aquarius that's happening. So the lunar eclipse is focused on emotional energy, and that's what moon energy is. And it focuses on this relationship, this axis of Leo Aquarius here, because lunar eclipses only happen when the sun, the earth, and the moon are all in syzygy. So we've got the sun over here in Aquarius, the earth is in the center, and then the moon is over in Leo. And what syzygy is when they all line up like that. So essentially the earth is blocking out all of the light that's coming from the sun in Aquarius here, and the moon is in that shadow. So there's two parts to the shadow area. If you think of the shadow as a circle, say the earth is here as that circle that's blocking out the sunlight from the sun, coming from the sun in Aquarius. There's two parts. If you think of it as a circle, the center, the darkest part of the circle, is the umbra. And then the outer shell of that circle is the penumbra. So it's sort of like, this is where it's darkest in the umbra, and the penumbra is sort of like the lighter part of the shadow. And that's where this particular lunar eclipse is going to be happening. It's called a penumbral. You don't need to know any of this. I'm just sharing this with you, but it's the moon is not in the direct center of the shadow. It's just south of the center. So it is in the penumbra, or the lighter part of the shadow area. And so I will be linking to where this will be viewable, what countries it will be viewable from, and when. But this afternoon, for Pacific Standard Time, it will be viewable at 4:34 p.m. or Eastern Standard Time, 7:34 p.m. And then the link that I'll have below will have more information about, the times and the places that it will be most noticeable. But regardless of whether you can see it or not, its effects, it will still be happening. So its effects will still be happening. And one of the themes of the Leo Aquarius axis is self-expression versus humanity's expression. So I'm likening this to like personal voice. You think about this as an actor on stage who's doing self-expression, that's Leo energy, versus the collective voice. This is more like the audience. It's the collective. It's the people who are observing the actor on stage. So it's the personal versus the collective. The personal, it could be looked at as ego expression versus the collective expression, the collective voice, the personal right to express one's own point of view versus the right of everyone to share their own unique point of view. So it's in many ways if we look at what Leo represents, which is the solar plexus, the chakra of personal power, expression, all of that, then this Aquarius, its balancing is everyone. If Leo is unique and special in its own right, its own particular voice, own unique voice, that's what Leo is. It's about connecting with your own personal, unique expression. Aquarius already has integrated that, and they know that everyone has their own personal, unique voice, and therefore everyone, has a right for expression. So it's really the balancing of, the ego versus, on the larger side, humanity, and the merging of multiple egos. So that's the dynamic that we have, and it's interesting to see how that plays out in politics with personalities. That's a real Leo theme versus this humanity theme, and many personalities as a collective, which is sort of what I'll call the cult of personality versus the cult of humanity, or the representation of personality or ego, self, versus the collective, humanity. So interesting times, and this axis is going to be bringing up the shadow elements of both of these themes. So it'll be interesting to watch this playing out, and this is the first instance that we're getting of this. So over the weekend, especially with Friday here as the highlight of this lunar eclipse, it's sort of going to be bringing up the shadow, or if you look at if you think of it in terms of like a skirt, it's going to show that slip underneath, or what's happening under the surface. It can come up for review, and when the shadow is coming up for review, it can be acknowledged and let go of, or it can be integrated. It can be resisted. It can sometimes show, sometimes the shadow can be nastiness or ugliness, or stuff that we want to dismiss and repress. And that can happen too, but the full moon is a time to release things. It's a time to let go of things. It's an illumination, so it's an acknowledgement, and especially for the fact that it's happening here in Leo, I'm going to say it's shining a light on stuff related to shadow, related to the ego, related to the personal, the self-expression, the wanting of the self to be recognized. So that's a theme for all of us. And it's in polar opposition, wanting to be integrated with how do we express ourselves in a way that is in accordance with humanity and that allows everyone to express themselves. So it's not a fight against, but it's an integration with. So that's what's going on with this lunar eclipse in Leo. And I'm going to talk about what it means for each sign. So for Leo, this full moon in Leo, this full moon lunar eclipse is happening in your first house of the self. So some of you Leos, some old shadow stuff may be coming up for review. And when you get a full moon in Leo, it means that there may be a part of yourself that is coming to completion, something that's getting illuminated that you may want to let go of. The first house is the house of the self and the identity. So there may be some part of your identity that you're coming to terms with, or that you're recognizing as shadow stuff and that you're releasing. So some Leos, you may be releasing some baggage from the past that was affecting your self-identity, or your version of yourself, of who you thought you were, who you think you are, who you define yourself to be. There's something that is coming to completion, maybe an old lesson, or something that you may be ready to release, like an old skin maybe being cast off at this time, Leo. So worth looking at any shadow stuff that comes up, because you may be letting go of that old definition of yourself It's sort of like you're preparing for a new self to emerge. This is like when a snake casts off its old skin and a new snake comes out and leaves the old skin behind. That's kind of the kind of thing that's happening for you, Leo, with the full moon lunar eclipse in Leo. Look at what's the old baggage, the old skin that you want to cast off, Leo. Then for Virgo, this full moon lunar eclipse is happening in your 12th house of the unconscious. And this could be showing up in your dreams, Virgo. There may be some information, especially about the self, that is or even spirituality, that is showing up in your dream life or in the unconscious. The 12th house is the house that rules the unconscious, things that are not available to us on a conscious level. So therefore, you may be getting illuminated dreams. There may be information in your dreams, especially about personal expression. That's the theme of Leo, or of how you express yourself, how you show up in the world, how comfortable you are with having a spotlight on you. I would say it's a good time, Virgo, to pay attention to your dreams, pay attention to the information that is getting illuminated and coming up for you in your dreams, especially as it relates to Leo themes like creativity, romance, children, creative projects, self-expression, your own personal expression, all of those. Your dream life could be very rich, and you're getting this illumination there. There may also be something in the 12th house themes, like your unconscious, that you have access to that is normally in shadow. You know, things, especially like, again, old tapes that are playing in the background. When you have the moon shining its light in the 12th house, which is sort of like a doubling of the shadow effect, because shadow is usually stuff that's under the surface, and the 12th house is the unconscious, which is stuff that's under the surface. So having this light, this full moon being shown in Leo there in the 12th house, there might be stuff really that's been buried that comes up for review and release. So good time to get a dream journal and write down things. Or ask questions before bed, and you may get some answers in your sleep. That's your unconscious world, Virgo. Good time to release some old stuff. For Libra, this full moon lunar eclipse is happening in your 11th house of humanity. And now this is an interesting polarization because it is in direct opposition with Aquarius here, as I was saying in the opening. We've got Leo here in your 11th house of humanity and friends, social networks, outer groups, your tribe, your network, your friends, the people you associate with, outer humanity. It's also the house of science. It's the house of innovation. It's the house of insight, inspiration, a lot of those sort of themes, Libra. So there may be a way in which you're letting go of a certain network, or it has come to fruition, it has come to culmination. If 6 months ago you had wanted to develop a new network, that could be coming to fulfillment. That's what full moons are about, things coming to a blooming state, to a fullness. And you're getting illumination in who you're choosing as your friends, who you're choosing as your network, as well as it may be bringing up some shadow elements of, like, are you seeing things about certain friends that you may want to be letting go? Is there some refining that I'm getting the word purging, some purging or refining between your friends or your network 11th house themes that you are shining this light on and saying, okay, this has come to a nice fullness, but is there anything that I need to get rid of? Is there any old baggage or shadow stuff that I either need to work on in terms of how you show up as a friend or as a networking person, or someone that you may want to let go of? So all those themes are happening with 11th house, full moon in the 11th house. It's accenting this 11th and 5th house polarity. You know, who you are as a person is Leo, your own self-expression with your friends. And, you know, as by extension, your network, your tribe, your collective, who is outer humanity to you. And where are the shadow aspects that are getting illuminated with that? So that's what's going on for you, Libra, during this full moon lunar eclipse in your 11th house. Then for Scorpio, we've got this full moon lunar eclipse happening in your 10th house. The house of career. So some of you Scorpios may be coming to a nice place of sort of shining your light in your career. It could be that you've come to a completion in your career. Some of you may be leaving your career. I'm getting that some of you are retiring. But it could just be that you've completed that level and you're going on to another level. It also may be bringing up shadow stuff within your career that you have either been trying to dismiss or that's holding you back from going to the next level, because full moons mean letting go. It means a culmination. And because it's a lunar eclipse, it's got this theme of what is in shadow, what is normally below your consciousness. I'm asking the question here because it's Leo of how is your personal expression, the way that you show up on stage, influencing or affecting your career? Is there a way that you want to let go of that? Or is there something that you would like to shine more light on to get to this next stage, this development, this culmination, this fulfillment that will take you to the next stage? Is there something about the shadow aspect of how your personal expression, your creativity, yourself is showing up in your career where you may want to take it to the next level? Where are the sort of dark edges that you need to attend to let this cycle go and pursue on to the next cycle? So 10th house is career, reputation, status, outer world kind of things. Where are your definitions in terms of the outer world and where your place is in regards to society? For Sagittarius, this full moon in Leo is happening in your home placement of the 9th house. This is the natural placement of Sagittarius. So this really has to do with travel, with higher learning, with publication, with any sort of like outer studies, higher information, higher studies. This can do with religion. It also can do with spirituality, like the 12th house, but it has to do more with organized religion, information, higher learning, travel, exploration. That's what you Sagittarius are all about, is exploration. So how does your personal expression show up in terms of travel, higher learning, themes of religion or publishing? I'm getting the sense for some of you Sagittarius that it's a great time for publishing, and it could even be a time for doing those final rough edits, like it's the project has come to a fulfillment. But with the shadow aspects, you may need to go through and like correct some grammar. You may need to do some edits. What's happening with the shadow with this lunar eclipse is it's shining a light on what areas do you need to work on this personal expression in terms of especially how it relates to your spirituality, your higher learning, publishing. Where are your rough edges? Where are your shadow aspects that you need to integrate in order to do more of that? Perhaps some of you want to do more travel, but there's some shadow aspects that are holding you back from doing that. And those, you may want to look into Leo themes to help you remedy that. Those are themes of creativity, personal expression, romance, children, anything that's like creative projects. You may want to shine a light on your, creativity in order to help you come to this fullness, this completion, this fruition, or graduation. I'll even use that word in terms of 9th house theme, Sag, travel, higher learning, publication, anything that you want to put out into the world. So that's what's going on for you with this full moon lunar eclipse in Leo in your 9th house. For Capricorn, this full moon lunar eclipse is happening in your 8th house of transformation. So this is a house of sex, death, and taxes. It's also the house of other people's money, and it's a house of transformation. So we've got personal expression in the house of transformation, Capricorn, so that the way that you show up on stage is being illuminated. And it's not only showing you as like the star of the show, but it's also showing any rough edges around the corner. Where are the dark spots? Where are the blind spots is what I'm getting also, because 8th house is the house of the hidden, the mysterious, what is held behind. It's also the house of things that are taboo. So how are this full moon lunar eclipse asks the question of, how are you showing up on stage? You know, who are you being? Is there something that needs to be transformed as far as what's hidden behind the surface? This full moon is illuminating perhaps those shadow aspects that are not complete for your personal expression, for your creativity. For Leos are all about expressing that voice, showing up on stage, you know, shining forth the light. This full moon in Leo is going to show how that is happening for you, but also what you need to transform in terms of where are your dark spots, where are your blind spots, how do you need to change and transform that in order to fully shine this light as like this actor on stage, as the person, as fully expressing your personal expression, Leo theme, your full creativity. How is that being dampened? What are the areas? So that's what's going on for you, Capricorn, all 8th house stuff. It also may be that there is a large amount of money available to you because full moon in 8th house is other people's money. So some of you may want to look into taking out a loan or find out if there's investors that want to invest in you. Your creative projects or endeavors could be a good time for that too, Capricorn. For Aquarius, this full moon in Leo lunar eclipse is happening in your 7th house of partnerships. So because you are on this axis, Leo, of where, you know, sun is in Leo, sun is in Capricorn, full moon is in Leo, lunar eclipse, it's bringing up shadow aspects. It's illuminating shadow aspects related to your partnerships. A real light is being shown, like a flashlight or a spotlight, in partnerships, in romance. I'm translating this for you, particularly Aquarius, as romance, children, because those are Leonine themes, Leo themes, creativity, and partnership, especially because this is 7th house, and 7th house talks about relationships and partnerships. So it's really shining a light for you right now about your partnerships, your relationships, who, you know, this could be shining a light on your spouse or a boyfriend or a girlfriend or, you know, a fiance or any kind of, you know, it could even be a relationship that you have with a business partner or a significant other, some sort of direct correlation. And this could be showing like the opposite. Because you are over here in the 1st house of self. This is really someone who may be very opposite of you. And how do they show their opposition? Is it complementary or is it contradictory? Leo is a very fixed sign. It is a fixed sign just like you, Aquarius. So there could be some real like digging in of the heels. You know, both of these signs are fixed. They don't want to move their course. This can show up as contradiction, or if there's a certain amount of openness between the two of you of who you are as people, it could be a real complementariness. So that's really the question that's being asked, is how are you integrating with the other and the self, or is there direct conflict and opposition? That could be some of the shadow stuff that is showing up in this lunar eclipse. Whenever the lunar eclipse comes, the shadow is being illuminated as well. So, and full moons are times of releasing things. So whatever the shadow aspect that is being illuminated here in partnership or relationship could be a time to shed that skin or identify what is in shadow aspect there. And do I want to say maybe that's an old part of how I define partnerships or relationships? There's a real possibility for you for that right now, Aquarius. So that's what's going on with your full moon lunar eclipse in the 7th house of partnerships. Also personal expression. Just want to throw that out there because that's Leo. Express yourself, especially in terms of relationships, and shine a light on your personal expression within relationships. That's going to provide you with some insights because you might be able to identify some of the shadow aspects there and let them go. That's the theme and energy of the full moon. For Pisces, this full moon in Leo, lunar eclipse, is happening in your 6th house of work, of routines, of the day-to-day, of schedules, things that are practical, also of your health. So this could be saying, some of you, this is actually good news. For some of you, there may be an old health matter that you finally see what the cause of it is. I'm actually getting that some of you will have the opportunity to get the correct diagnosis. If some of you have been having afflictions with your health, because that is shadow in 6th house, that's affliction, that's things that are unseen, an unknown symptom, that can show up during this time. For some of you, you may be letting go of old health things, or a light is being shown on your daily routine, your daily habits, your health habits. For some of you, that shadow aspect may be illuminating eating habits, or compulsive eating, or a certain diet, or lack of exercise. Anything that has to do with your health, routine, lifestyle, work habits. It may show is shining a light on your personal expression. So for some of you, this may be highlighting an inability to speak up at work, or that you may want to make adjustments to how you express yourself personally. Leo themes in terms of your work, which is the 6th house. So personal expression in your house of work, in your house of daily routines. It's also creativity. Leo is creativity. So where are the frayed edges in terms of creativity? Have you not been embracing your own creativity? Because you're a very creative person, Pisces, and Leo is what Pisces and Leo share is this love of creativity, this poetic nature. So I'm going to say, how can you embrace that, shine a light on that, and see what are the sort of dark edges? What's the shadow aspect that's coming up for you in terms of your work life, daily routines, habits, health? That's all 6th house stuff. And Leo is asking about personal expression, creativity, romance, children. Is there any way in that is a light is being shown on that? Is there stuff that you want to release about that? Let go of old shadow aspects. Right now is a good time to review that, Pisces, and ask, is there a way that you have been denying your own personal expression or denying your own creativity? Is there a block there? Good time to look at that and maybe release any old patterns with this full moon in Leo in your 6th house. For Aries, this full moon in Leo, lunar eclipse, is happening in the traditional house of Leo, which is the 5th house. So, wow, Aries, this could be a great time for romance for you. Leo rules creativity and personal expression, romance, true love. This is your 5th true. So for many of you, this could just be focusing on the theme of true love, of romance. Who is your true love partner? Interestingly enough, this is right before Valentine's Day, so that might be a real thing that's on your mind, Aries. If not, then how is your creativity perhaps being blocked? Because that's the shadow aspect. The full moon will always bring illumination to this area, but it'll also illuminate where the shadow aspects are. So is there a way that your creativity is not being acknowledged or addressed, your personal expression? Is there a way that your true romance are there dark edges around it that need to be, released, old subconscious stuff that's usually hanging out under the surface? Are there fears or doubts? Shadow aspects to how you view romance or true love, creativity, any of those Leo themes, personal expression. Those are questions to ask because you may have an opportunity to not only see that now during the lunar eclipse, but also to release it. So that's what's going on for you, Aries, in this 5th house, full moon, Leo happening there for you. For Taurus, this full moon lunar eclipse is happening in your 4th house of family, of parenting, of the home. So this gives you some illumination on your personal expression, as well as shadow aspects. I'm actually wondering for some of you Taurians, if some of this has to do with personal expression towards your kids. You know, how you express yourself in the home. How do you show up with creativity in the home or towards your parents or with your kids? I'm really getting personal expression though, because that is a Leo theme. How do you get to express yourself? It's showing a light in that section as well as illuminating the shadow. So do you tend to express in terms of anger, or is there frustration, or do you not allow yourself to express yourself? I mean, Leo expresses from the heart. It's full disclosure. So Taurus, this is illuminating that and saying, is there a way in which you need to express yourself more? Is there a way in which you want to let some old things go, or review what are the shadow aspects? Because that's what the lunar eclipse brings up. Are there shadow aspects to your home, to personal expression within the domestic realm? You know, expressing yourself, being creative, having romance or true love. Those are also Leo themes. Leo rules romance, creativity, children. 4th house can also be a house of parenting and children. So there really could be something in terms of illuminating how you interact with your children if you have them, or whether you want them. That's really getting illuminated here. Home, children, romance, true love, house and home. That's what's going on for you, Taurus. That's where it's coming up for review and release. It could also just be that you're enjoying it, that the spotlight is, you feel very full. But if there's anything that you want to let go of in that realm, now's a good time to let that go. It's coming up for review. For Gemini, this full moon lunar eclipse in Leo is happening in your 3rd house, which is your natural house, Gemini. 3rd house is communication. And because Leo represents personal expression, I'm really seeing that it's about what you say and how you say it, Gemini. So there's a real spotlight there on your communication. And this is your home house. 3rd house is usually Gemini's natural placement. So what Leo does is brings extra fire to that. And Leo rules romance, children, true love, creativity, and personal expression. So with this theme on personal expression in your 3rd house of communication, which you rule over, I'm really getting that a light is being shown on your communication, Gemini. And not only is it being illuminated, but where are the shadow aspects of your communication? Is there something that you want to fine-tune or release? This full moon in Leo will help you identify where are the shadow aspects of my communication, and is there a way in which I want to refine that? You could also just be on stage speaking. For some of you Geminis, could be a great time to be doing lectures. If some of you Geminis are generally pretty clever and intelligent, so for some of you who are professors, it might be a time to be recognized as a great lecturer. That's all Leo stuff. You might have fun with expressing yourself during this time, as well as fine-tune and release any old shadow aspects of your communication that need working on. So what's going on for you, Leo? Gemini, and with this Leo full moon in your 3rd house. For Cancer, this full moon lunar eclipse in Leo is happening in your 2nd house of personal finance, of assets, of possessions, of the body, things that are here on earth, things that you own, things that are yours. So full moon in Leo can be a time of identifying, the spotlight is being shown there in your second house, Cancer. So this could be a light's being shown on your assets, on your possessions, on the body and the state of the body, also on finance, things that are yours. So you might be coming to a nice point of completion of like having extra money. If you've been saving up, as you Cancers tend to do, this could be a time of enjoying the riches that show up in the second house, as well as it's illuminating any shadow aspects. Like, are you being possessive towards anything? Shadow aspects in the second house tend to have to do with possessiveness. They have to do with like acquisition, perhaps materiality. When the full moon shines here, not only is it a fullness and a graduation and a culmination, so like, for example, some of you may be getting raises, but it also may show shadow aspects of like, is there an attachment to any sort of material thing? Is there fear? Is there doubt? Is there any shadow aspects related to second house themes? Now, Leo usually has to do with personal expression. Leo has to do with usually wanting the finer things in life. You know, Leo has that golden energy to it. So what is your relationship to gold? What is your relationship to having finer things in life? What is your relationship to allowing finer things in life? The shadow aspects will tell you something about that. Do you not allow those in? Or do you place too much of a value on that? That's shadow aspect of second house stuff. And with Leo themes, it may have to do with, Leo rules over creativity, romance, true love, children. Some of you, it may be asking about having children. Things that are yours, things that you sort of own. This is all going to be coming up for you during this full moon in Leo. Lunar eclipse will show the shadow aspects and help you identify anything that you may want to release in that area. For example, if some of you Cancers feel like, you know, maybe there's been a focus on the superficial or the material, those are second house themes, you know, too much of a focus on money, it may be time to let go of that, because you're able to release things with the full moon. Things come to fruition, to culmination, and you can let those things go, as well as enjoy the buildup. Some of you, again, may have been saving up since that new moon in Leo, and it's been 6 months of accumulation, and the sun is shining on this full moon. Leo, assets, possessions, gold here. You know, there could be a nice little stack of coins there. But it will also illuminate any shadow aspects related to second house themes. So that's what's going on for everyone with this full moon lunar eclipse in Leo. And I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, feel free to give it a thumbs up or share it with anyone else who you think might enjoy this information. As always, I just want to thank everyone for watching. And if you'd like to book, I can't say 2 words at once. If you'd like to book a personal reading with me, you can click on one of the links at the end, or if you want to check out my tarot course, I'll have a link for that as well. And again, just as always, thanks everyone for watching. Yours in the stars.